Shalom and welcome. My name is Rabbi Yitzchak Shapira, and I am the Senior Founding Rabbi of Ahavat Amei Ministries, a Jewish organization that is focused in the restoration of the Jewish people back to the Jewish Mashiach. His name was and still is today Yeshua, which literally means the Lord saves, God saves. As a matter of fact, on August 1st, 2013, I released a book by the title of The Return of the Kosher Pig that has to do with the restoration of the name of Yeshua back to his rightful owner, the Jewish people. On August 20th, I was a guest host on Dr. Michael Brown's show In the Line of Fire, where a very intense discussion took place on Exodus chapter 19, verse 16, the giving of the Torah. Can you imagine something more important, more powerful than that? Rabbi Israel Blumenthal, in his Objection in Contrabound, brought the point when he declared that if the Messiah was not there during Mount Sinai, we are not to give him any devotion or any attention. That was the premise that he believed, and I agree with this premise. However, Rabbi Israel Blumenthal went forward to make a few critical mistakes in his argumentation against the return of the kosher pig, and specifically on the event that took place on Mount Sinai. What have we learned so far of what took place on Mount Sinai is important. Number one, we learned that there were voices and there were thunders. Number two, we have learned that those particular voices that were heard represent one of the voices that was heard was the voice of water that also equated to, in many times in rabbinic writing, to the voice of the Messiah. We also learned that there were the voice of wind or spirit that joined itself, the voice of water and spirit joined himself to one eternal and heavenly voice. So far, we looked at the objection by Rabbi Israel Blumenthal, who tried to suggest that I'm promoting Trinity. Well, as you can look at the previous episode, that is simply false. That is not the point of this discussion of Exodus 19:16. The point of Exodus 19:16 and the discussion to prove that God is a compound unity in nature and that the Messiah was there during the giving of the Torah. That is the point. Nothing else and nothing more. Number two, Israel Blumenthal tried to suggest that somehow I manipulated the Zohar on Exodus 19:16 to insert a word that is not in the text. I have clearly not done that. You can look at the earlier episode as I proven it. I would like to look today at the third objection by Israel Blumenthal. Again, we're going to turn to his writings to see his objection, and he brought up the following point. Let us look together. He states, Shapira translates the word Ruach as spirit, while from the context of the passage, it's obviously mean wind. As a matter of fact, the word Ruach in Hebrew can translate it both as spirit, okay, or as wind. It can be translated the word ruach means both. I chose to translate it as spirit, but beloved, it doesn't really matter in the context of the point that I'm trying to prove if it is a wind or it is a spirit. That is completely irrelevant, because the thesis of what I am suggesting, okay, has to do with the multiple manifestation of God that were there in Mount Sinai. The word in content in the Zohar that uses the word kolot. The word kolot speak about voices that were heard. That is what we need to focus on, not whether or not it's mean winds or spirit. Rabbi Blumenthal continued to try to confuse the matter, to raise up a flag about objection that really doesn't add or doesn't matter for the discussion. Now, Rabbi Blumenthal might disagree, but let us look at perhaps a better translation that is brought up. Let us look at the different translation that I brought. This is an approved Jewish translation. And it says, there were thunders, or in Hebrew, kolot, and lightnings. Rabbi Abba said that kolot is spelled without vavs. Both vavs are missing, the indication of the plural form, signifying that there were two thunders, two voices that became one again. One emanating from the other wind, and from wind from water, and water from wind. The two are one, and the one that is two. Therefore, the word kolot is written without the vav. Let's ask ourselves the question, what is the point that the author here of the Zohar trying to tell us? The point that the author of the Zohar tried to tell us that the word kolot appear to be misspelled. It's missing twice the vavs because they represent the two different voices of Hashem who spoke to the son of Israel as they received the Torah. Friends, if God is truly one and He is not a compound in nature, how can the children of Israel hear two voices? If it is a voice, the voices with a wind or the spirit, it's still irrelevant for the discussion. How can they hear two voices if God is truly only an absolute unity and not a compound unity, as Rabbi Israel Blumenthal trying to suggest? Rabbi Blumenthal have missed the point of the argument that I'm trying to suggest altogether. The point of the argument is the fact that God is compound in nature. There are many examples of that in the Hebrew Bible. For instance, in one place in the Zohar, it says the following. It says, we have already established that Hashem, our Elohim, Hashem is the secret of the unison of three sides, namely Abba, Father, Ima, Mother, and Zair, Anafin. And this is the secret of the unity in three sides. The only luminary as established as is asserted in many places. We have no permission to assert it anymore. In another place, equating God compound nature, we read in Zohar in Parashat Bo, again, it says, there is made known through the vision of the Holy Spirit, they become part of the mystery of the mirror of the closed eye, to make known that the three columns alluded to Hashem, our Elohim, Hashem, are one. And this is the secret of the audible sound. Sound is one, and his three aspects, fire, air, and water, which are all one in the secret of the sound, also here. Hashem, our Elohim, Hashem, are one, the three aspects that are all one. The point, friend, is clear. And the point of the entire chapter in the return of the kosher pig is clear. God cannot be put into a box, friend. And He is compounding nature. For some reason, the Zohar speak about this three manifestation of God. For some reason that I will not get into right now. But to suggest that somehow the word wind and spirit, if it's translated, offers some sort of earth-shattering to discredit the book and the work, is truly not, is a false. It's not true. So I'll leave you with this. Ask yourself the question, why did the two join themselves to the one? And who is the Zohar speak of? And why does it say in the Hebrew that they heard voices? The answer is clear. The Jewish people have heard the voice of Mashiach, who was there at the beginning of time. He was there in Exodus 19, the giving of the Torah, and the sages tell us He was there in Numbers 21, and He was there throughout Jewish history. He was, He is, and He will be forever and ever. By the name of Yeshua HaMashiach and the God of Israel, be blessed forever and ever. Shalom v'kol tov.